What's going on, guys? Happy Halloween to you. God, hardly breathing this thing. I want to talk to you about some news from the Japanese domestic market. So we all know that Mazda are releasing a new RX-8 replacement. It's going to have the Wankel rotary engine. Absolutely cannot wait for that. But just this morning, I caught news that Toyota is going to be bringing back the MR2. Now, so long as they don't go digging around in BMW's parts bin again and base it on a, I don't know, a BMW 2 Series convertible, that could be really, really cool. But enough of the Japanese domestic market for the moment. I want to talk about something a little bit closer to my heart. Don't worry, I'm not going to be plugging a sponsor. My best friend Liam, you guys should know about him if you watched my first episode with the 458 and the 996. He was involved in a tragic accident earlier this year. He was run over by a 9-ton telehandler, presumed to be dead. He's not dead, he's fighting on. He is just about able to stand up now, and he is even getting out of hospital after being in hospital for the last 10 months. Sounds like great news. However, because he's getting out of hospital, he's not going to have the physio support that he needs. So there is a GoFundMe page set up. If you click on there, type in "Help Liam Walk" again on GoFundMe, I'll put a link in the description. Go and check out his story, guys. If you like my videos, please go and donate, because if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be doing this. Now, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much. Happy Halloween, guys. So guys, welcome to episode 3, and I'm really, really pleased to tell you guys this. We've actually gained our first sponsor. So SM Cars of Lancashire, fantastic used cars dealership. They're actually sponsoring this episode, so big thank you to Scott and everyone here at SM Cars for all their support. And we're actually going to be having a look at one of Scott's cars shortly. However, he's actually wrapping up a deal at the moment, as he should be. So in the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go inside, get some keys, and we'll have a look at some of his awesome stock. This, guys, this is an Alfa Romeo Brera. Now, I've always loved these. I think they're absolutely gorgeous. I mean, look at that front interior. Is that not just beautiful? I mean, yes, it's an Alfa Romeo. It is probably going to break down many times, but at the same time, it's so pretty. So we're going to go and check out another Italian. Now, this is a car that I really like. I've always loved these, and this one's a particularly nice spec. It is the Fiat 500 Abarth. I'm gonna have a look at this. So, Fiat 500 Abarth. I've always been a big fan of these. So, 0 to 60 in 7.9 seconds. It's pushing out 135 brake horsepower with a top speed of 128. And they always sound fantastic. Now, so here we are, this is the car we're going to be filming today, and this is Scott of SM Cars, and we are at White Lund Industrial Estate in Morecambe, and you do national delivery, you do finance, you do warranties on a whole different range of cars, don't you, Scott?
Certainly do.
Excellent. And how long have you been here?
4 years.
4 years now, guys. And how long have you had this for?
2, I think. 2 years.
And what did you have before this? It was the M4.
The Asmarina Blue M4.
But the one question I have got to ask is, what do you think you'd get after this? I mean, where do you go from somewhere like this?
Be a Ferrari, I think.
It's got to be a Ferrari. Excellent. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Well, I know that obviously, you know, you've been doing deals even while we've been filming, but I know we're a bit pressed for time. So, what do you say we go for a drive and we have a pint?
Let's do that.
This is the Audi R8 GT Spider. Now, in 2011, when this car was made, it was the most expensive road car Audi had ever made. It's based upon the normal V10 R8, and what they've done is they've added lightness, added power, and aerodynamics to create what we have here today. So the output is 552 brake horsepower, which is 30 brake horsepower up from the standard V10 Spider. It's about 82 kilograms lighter, although this one does have the comfort seat, so it's a little bit heavier than other R8 GTs that you'll see around. But that's the other point of this car, is that you're not going to see them, because not only was this the most expensive road car Audi had ever made, it's also one of the rarest. Only 333 of these were made.
This is number 7, and it's one of 31, I think, that are still left in the UK. So the chances of actually seeing one of these on the road is very, very rare. Obviously, with that increased power, they had to do something about the brakes. So the brakes are carbon ceramics on the GT. Of course, this is a Spider, so you're never really going to track one of these, so I've never really understood what this car's for, especially as despite the fact that this has been lightened using magnesium parts by using a combination of plastic and carbon for a lot of body panels, lighter wheels, lighter brakes, even an aluminium engine frame, which is much, much lighter than that of the standard V10 R8. This stripped out lightened version is still heavier than the normal R8 Coupe.
So let's get down to the nitty-gritty on the R8 GT Spider. As I said, it's following the same old formula of lightness and add power. However, it's still a fairly heavy car. It weighs in at 1,640 kilograms. So it's only 85 kilograms lighter than the standard R8 V10. There is a lot of similarities between the Audi R8 V10 and the Lamborghini Gallardo Performante. The maximum torque is 398 foot-pounds, which is identical to the Performante. The gearbox is a 6-speed R-tronic system out of the normal Audi R8 V10. So let's talk about those body parts then for the moment. So it's clear to see the exposed carbon fibre on the splitters and the wings, but the body panels as well are reinforced polymer carbon fibre, which have been then painted over. So not only are you seeing the exposed stuff on the spoilers and the splitters, but the actual body panels themselves as well are there different to the standard car. On top of how good this car sounds, we have to appreciate also how good this car looks.
Talking about the engine, it'd be really nice to have a look, but there is a problem with that, and you find this with most convertible sports cars. When you've got a roof that needs to fold away, often this patch doesn't open, so all that you can actually see of the engine is unfortunately that. Because everyone that watches these shows isn't going to be a mad petrol head like me, I am going to explain why this engine's special. It's called a V10, and as much as you can't see much of it, as I explained for reasons of this being a convertible, I'll do my best to explain. So there's a red bank there, and a red bank on that side as well. And on each bank there's 5 cylinders, okay? 5 on this side, 5 on that side. That creates 10, so there's the 10 part of it. Now, why is it called a V10? Because the cylinders are actually in this angle like this here. So the top of the engine there is right at the top. You've got the 2 banks, 5 cylinders on each side, and they create the shape of a V, hence V10. You've obviously heard of V8s and V6s, of course, and that's just how many cylinders are actually in the engine block itself. Now, a V10 is a very rare engine these days because it's a very inefficient engine. They were all the rave back in sort of the mid-2000s, but now the Audi R8 and the Lamborghini Huracan are pretty much the only V10s that are left. The Lexus LFA, you know, that was a limited run car. So chances are we're not going to see a naturally aspirated V10 for a long time, if ever, which is a sad thing because they're such a great sounding engine, and as much as they're inefficient and you know, a little bit dated now, they're a wonderful thing. And you know, arguably the best era of Formula 1 was when they had the V10 engines, purely for the noise. So in true Hamilton James Cars fashion, I always like to chat to the owners to get a real idea of what these cars are like to live with. Unfortunately, Scott's had to run off to do yet another deal, so we'll leave him to it. But he's given this car to do pretty much whatever we want with, so a massive, massive shout out to Scott and everyone here at SM Cars for letting us shoot his R8, but of course for sponsoring the episode as well. So again, they do nationwide delivery. Come and check out their website. The link will be in the description. They've got all kinds of stock here, guys. So do check them out. When Scott said, do you want to come and shoot the R8 GT Spider? I never really understood the car, but I was keen to do it because of that point. It was a bit like when it came out. I remember reading about it. It didn't make sense. It was heavier than a standard R8 Coupe, yet it was supposed to be this little bit more race-bred car for the road. Most expensive car Audi had ever made, and made in such limited numbers it almost seemed irrelevant. £160,000 when this car was new in 2012, and this very car with 19,000 miles on it is for sale for less than £80,000. Of course, £80,000 is a lot of money, but this is a supercar. This is a 200 mile an hour, 0 to 60 in 3.8 seconds supercar.